Meat City, baby.
Hello and welcome back to Meat City Gaming. JD here with another 1000 Gamerscore report. And today we're talking about Elden Ring. And because this game is more recently released than a lot of the things I cover on this channel, it's also a much bigger, more popular game than a lot of the things that I cover. The first thing I want to do is give a quick spoiler alert. This is a review of the achievements in the game. So there is some level of spoilers in here. If you are at all worried about seeing the list of the achievements in the game and their descriptions, then you should turn back now. But I will not be talking about anything related to the story or any other lore or important items that may spoil the event. The background footage that's playing it's from a New Game Plus playthrough, so my character is more powerful than you will be, but the part of the game that I'm playing through is literally the first 10 minutes of the game. So very little in the way of spoilers, but not spoiler free. So I wanted to give that up front. Okay, so getting into the achievements for this game, there are a total of 42 for the 1000 Gamerscore. Currently, there's no DLC available for this game, but it's a From Software game, and typically they do release DLC. However, when they release it, it is not often the case that achievements get attached to the new DLC. So if you play the game and you beat it, and then you're worried about new DLC coming out later and you have to go back, not usually the case. Of course, I can't be sure that that's going to be the case, but as of the time of this video and based on the past history for this developer, I think it will stay at the 1000 Gamerscore total. So, in terms of how you get the achievements for this game, a lot of games, when you play through, you have difficulty settings. That's not the case for Elden Ring. There are no difficulty settings. There is only one difficulty, and it is difficult. So we'll get into that a little bit more later, but you don't have to go through an easy playthrough and then a medium playthrough and a hard playthrough like a lot of games do. One playthrough in terms of difficulty, and you're good. Again, a caveat to that we'll cover a little bit later. In terms of online achievements, there are no required online achievements. You don't need to play with other people or invade other people or go against other people or have an adversarial process in order to get all the achievements in this game. However, there is an online component to this game, and a big cooperative one, and it is one I highly recommend that you take advantage of to complete some of the more difficult achievements, which again, we'll talk about shortly when we get to the most difficult achievement section of the review. So what is required then? You know, there are no difficulties, there's no required online play. What do you have to do? Well, you kind of have to go everywhere and do everything. Most of the achievements in the game, the vast majority of them, are to defeat a specific boss. That's it. The achievement is defeat person X, and that's it. And you get the achievement. Well, all of those achievements, all of those bosses are scattered throughout the game, and in order to access them, to get to them, you're going to have to go through all the twists and turns. You're going to have to visit all the areas. You're going to have to run some of the side quests. You're going to have to find all the hidden areas. All of that is there. So yes, it is a heavy lift. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to do. And a lot of those bosses are very challenging, and a lot of areas that you have to go through to get to those bosses is also very challenging. But that's it. If you do all of that stuff, you can basically do everything in one playthrough, except for there's 3 achievements that are tied to the ending of the game. And I'm not going to describe what those are. I'll just tell you that there are 3 of them. And there's more than 3 endings to the game. There's, I think, like 6 or so. But there's 3 of them that have an achievement tied to them, and they are mutually exclusive. So you can do your first playthrough, get every achievement in the game except for the 3 ending ones, pick the ending that you want to do, and then you're going to have to restart and do a second playthrough to get one of the other endings, and finally a third playthrough to get the final ending. Now, there are ways around this. You can save scum, you can use local saves to try and abuse it, and if you save at the right time and then reload your save after getting an ending, maybe you can avoid that extra hassle. But I don't think it's necessary, because if you go through the game, if you unlock everything, if you get all the achievements except for those 3 different endings, and then you beat the game, Your second and third playthroughs will be really, really fast because you don't have to do any of that extra stuff. You don't have to do any of the side paths, any of the more difficult bosses. It's a very, very straightforward path. Your character is very strong. You know exactly what you have to do and where you have to go, and you can shortcut it. So your first playthrough may be 100 hours getting your first ending, and then your second and your third could each be 2 hours or 3 hours, right? Depending on how quick you are and how focused and dedicated you are. So it's not that bad. I think if you're gonna put the time in, the second and third playthrough, unlike some games, it's not a slog. There is a lot of shortcutting you can do to get right to those endings. So the playthrough themselves, it's not too bad, even though it is slightly annoying that you have to kind of redo again a lot of the game and play through stuff that you've already done for no purpose other than to get to the end of the game again and then unlock those achievements that are associated with it. So discussing missable achievements, there is only one achievement in the game that's kind of what you would say is missable, and that relates to the achievement called Legendary Armaments. It's one of the collection achievements. There are 9 legendary weapons in the game, and you have to collect all of them in order to unlock this achievement. You don't have to do it in one playthrough, so if you mess this up, it's fine. You can just clean it up on your second playthrough. But one of the weapons is in a location that changes based on a story event, and after this change, you can't get it anymore. So you can pretty much do everything in any order whenever you want. It's an open world game, but if you don't collect this weapon early enough, you can lock yourself out from getting it, again, in one playthrough. You can always go back in NG Plus and clean it up. And so again, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the capital city, Lendell, when you get there, after you fight and defeat a golden boss, then you will be able to acquire this weapon. It's the Bolt of Grand Sax, and it's located on top of a big spear. So you have to defeat the boss to access the area to get to it, and then you have to kind of climb up this spear to get the weapon, which itself is a spear. So do that after you defeat the golden boss, and then progress with the rest of the story, and you'll have no worries from missing that achievement. Other than that, unless you're like killing off secondary characters or really trying to mess things up, you can't really miss out on anything. If you wait or do stuff in a different order, you're gonna be okay. So with all that said, what's the toughest achievement in the game? Well, sometimes it's collectibles, right? Collectibles can be really annoying, and they're hidden, and there's 100 of them, or there's 1,000 of them, and you have to track down things. That's not really the case in Elden Ring. There are a couple of very mild collection achievements. There's collect all of the legendary ashes, which is like a summon you can use in boss fights. So, but there's only 6 of them. And so, yes, again, part of go everywhere, do everything, you'll get those. There's collect all the legendary sorceries and incantations, magic spells. Again, you'll get them if you go everywhere and do everything. And there's only, I think, 10 or maybe 12 of those, give or take. They're low numbers, they're not a burden. So it's not really the collectibles. In this game, the hardest achievement, in my opinion, is the one that is tied to defeating Melania. It is a certain boss in the game. It is quite a trip just to get to her. It's like hidden area, which accesses a hidden area, which accesses a hidden area, and then you can get to her. And that fight is extremely difficult. On the plus side, you can put it off as long as you want and power up your character as fully as possible, and then make this kind of the last thing you do before your first ending of the game. But even doing that, it's really, really tough. So how can you do it? Well, I mentioned before that there is cooperative online play. And in Elden Ring, like other From Software games like Dark Souls, you can call in people to help you fight, cooperative allies. And for this fight and many of the fights in the game, you can call in up to 2 helpers. So you have your personal summon, and there's options for that. You can kind of pick the one you like. If you want to play solo, you'll have a helper, which can help you with the boss fights. But instead, if you want to call in real player helpers, they can put down a summon sign on the ground near the boss call or the boss fog or boss door. You can pick the ones that you want, and up to 2 of them can come in and help you with this fight. It's an immense help to have 2 people come in and help you with the fight, if they know what they're doing. This boss in particular has a healing mechanic every time she attacks and hits anything, she heals herself, even if that hit is blocked. So people can have a shield and they may block the hit and like, oh, I'm great, I'm blocking, I'm tanking, but no, because you're really just letting her heal. So all the damage that you're dealing in the back while they're tanking, it's just getting healed, even though that person is still in the fight. So it is a really specific set of characters. I mean, you can learn the fight yourself. It's not impossible. Just like every other character in the game, boss fight in this game, there's patterns, there's moves, there's ways to counter things. So it's doable, but having two people come in who know the fight, who can avoid the damage, who can tank the aggro while you stay back, stay safe, but also be aware, because if you take aggro for a second, you can get killed in one hit by this boss very easily. It is the most difficult achievement, I believe, in the game. But perseverance, call in some summons and some patience, and I think you'll get through it. And you only have to do it once. It's not one of the required fights for your second and third playthrough. So if you can do all that, you can get all of the achievements in Elden Ring. And it's worth it, right? This is a great game. If you like Dark Souls or any games like that, then you'll love this game. If you haven't played those before and you're curious about this type of game, I would say go for it. This is kind of an open world. It's a little bit more friendly. It's a little bit, because you can get the summons all over the place, it felt a little more open and welcoming, because you can go and get equipment for your character in kind of any order. It's not linear. So you can, find a weapon that you like, go get it and power yourself up and use that to take on boss after boss after boss and get really comfortable with your build. So it's a great game. The achievements are really good as well. Some of the past From Software games have like acquire every there's emoticons or stances, or like you can make your character pose or do something like that, and they would take multiple playthroughs and like very specific chains of stuff to do. None of that's there. They kind of scaled it back. They didn't make you do all 6 endings, right? They only made you do 3. So it's reasonable. It's great. It's straightforward, but it is challenging, but it's also rewarding. So my score for the achievements in this game, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Close to perfection. Again, I had that one little like annoyance with the having to go back and do those second and third playthroughs. And again, I got my last achievement, I got the ending, my first ending achievement. Oh, now I have to play through the whole game again, and I'm not getting any progress. I'm not getting any achievements. And then I beat it. Okay, and now I got my other achievement. And then do it all over again. Okay, and then I beat it, and now I'm done. So you kind of get the victory lap of that last playthrough, which is nice. You're fully powered. You don't have to worry about anything. Just cruise through, get your final lap, take the checkered flag, get that 1,000 gamer score. But I would prefer if you could get all the achievements in one playthrough and not have to do those second and third follow-ups. But it's close to perfection. It's really, really good. No annoyances, no glitches, no problems like that. Smooth experience, great game, highly recommended it. So hopefully you guys will give Elden Ring a try if this sounds like it's something up your alley. Nothing to fear here in terms of the 1,000 gamer score other than the meaty challenge of the game itself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.